This is something I've been quietly hoping for ever since I finished Tears of the Kingdom, albeit not necessarily in this form factor. The upgraded versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are getting a bit of a lore boost. Nintendo's adding voice memories scattered across the map like little audio diaries, and while we don't know exactly what's in them yet, the idea alone has got me thinking about the kind of details they could bring to the Wild era. Those little moments that help make the world feel more lived in, more connected. What's really helpful is the new Zelda Notes feature in the Nintendo Switch app. It shows you exactly where to find these new memories on your map, and there's even voice guided navigation to help you get there. Makes a nice change from blindly wandering the Hebra Mountains hoping for a vague ping. So let's just imagine for a second what these memories might give us, because if Aonuma and team have gone to the trouble of adding them, you'd hope they'll provide some interesting insights. And a fun way to do this is by thinking about the avenues this kind of storytelling opens up. We've had voice memories from at least Zelda, Rauru and Master Koga confirmed, but who's to say there won't be more characters or more added in future updates? So let's dive into some lore possibilities and what this could mean across the various time periods. First up, in Breath of the Wild Before the Fall, you might stumble across a memory of Urbosa chatting with Zelda's mother. Something quiet, maybe just a conversation about how to prepare her daughter for the role she never really wanted, or a voice note from a castle guard during the early hours of the calamity, confused, scared, wondering why the Guardians have stopped listening to commands. Maybe a Sheikah researcher speaking into some long forgotten terminal, documenting experiments on ancient tech before they had to shut it all down. That sort of quiet background detail that makes everything feel a bit more grounded. Even Link's training days could pop up, a fellow knight talking about how strange he is, always silent, always serious, always watching. With Tears, I'd love to hear more from the sages, especially Minoru. Imagine her leaving messages behind in the depths, not for anyone in particular, but just to process everything that happened. You could have a record from a Hylian archaeologist who ventured too deep into an old Zonai ruin and started hearing things, unsure if it's echoes or something worse, or even something simple. Zelda, alone in the past, reflecting on what she's lost. Not dramatic, just thoughtful, tinged with a hint of sadness, doing her utmost to hold it together. And with Master Koga or the Yiga more generally, a memory tucked away in a hideout, someone rambling about Ganondorf's return in a way that makes you wonder if they're fully on board or just scared. And then there's Ganondorf himself. A voice note from him, maybe one of his early meditations while imprisoned, could be fascinating, not ranting or evil for the sake of it, just reflective. Imagine him speaking about the rise of Hyrule, watching it grow over the centuries from the shadows. Maybe he's bitter about how the Zonai sealed him away, or maybe he sees himself as inevitable, something that must return to correct the imbalance he believes Hyrule has caused. Even just a line where he wonders if the gods ever listen anymore. That kind of quiet moment would say more than any boss fight ever could. And we have seen a few examples already. Nintendo gave us a little preview during Treehouse Live. There's a moment where Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom is standing near the old Temple of Time, and she says this.
There are several ancient texts and works of literature that speak of the Temple of Time by name, but all of them describe a structure that differs in design from the one we see today. Hyrule's history is long, and this discrepancy is one of the unsolved mysteries of our land.
Now that's exactly the sort of detail these memories could be full of. Not just dramatic events, but small moments of curiosity. Zelda noticing architectural differences, old texts not lining up with the world around her. It builds on the side of her character that's more inquisitive, more scholarly. And for lore fans, it's catnip. because that one line alone raises about 5 different questions. Are there multiple Temples of Time? Is this one a reconstruction, or has something been quietly rewritten over the centuries? If all the voice memories are like this, pointing out odd little gaps in Hyrule's recorded history, it could shift how we read the entire timeline once again. But who doesn't love the timeline conversation, eh? It's all speculation for now, but if they're handled well, these memories could add a whole new layer to both games. Not big cinematic moments, just smaller, more personal things that fill in the edges. These intricate details and attention to world building have always fascinated me, so I'm very excited for the launch of Switch 2, for this feature alone, and I'll be going through them once they're out, pulling out the threads, connecting bits of story, maybe even spotting links to older games. There's still a lot we don't know about this period in Hyrule's history, and this feels like a good excuse to dig in properly. Hopefully this will all coincide with the English release of the masterworks for Tears of the Kingdom as well. There's a lot to look forward to lore-wise, so definitely more to come on this front. If anything jumps out at you once the updates go live, odd details, new names, whatever, drop it in the comments. I'll be keeping notes, and if you haven't done already, subscribe to hear more lore and Zelda theories. Thanks, have a good one, and catch you next time.